The first scenario that we have here is that the effects of overgrazing on grassland degradation and the intensification of climate change in Badakhshan. As we have prepared everything, as was mentioned previously, the first, we're going to have a background to the question. The background of the question is designed in a way that we should imagine that we are a livestock officer in a government department in Badakhshan. For example, I am a livestock officer in Badakhshan. We are a team of 10 officers there, and we're working, and we face a scenario. And we believe that overgrazing is causing the degradation of grasslands, which will be exacerbated by climate change. So we're going to have a couple of background information to the scenario. We will have some case studies to the problems this scenario creates and what are our results and findings. And also, we're going to have some recommendations to this scenario and to the problems that exist. So before everything, our role as a livestock officer needs to be done by some of the ways. The first thing that we need to manage is the use of grasslands, because as livestock officers, we need to manage this. The second thing is raising awareness among herders about sustainable grazing, because the scenario is suggesting that we are going to have a problem on this. And the third thing is suggesting supportive policies for herders, that our team as livestock officers in Badakhshan must perform all of these tasks. So before going to the other sections of this seminar, let's talk a little bit about challenges of overgrazing. When overgrazing occurs, what challenges we will face by overgrazing? The first challenge is decrease in grassland capacity. The capacity of grasslands will decrease, and that's a really big challenge. And the second challenge is loss of biodiversity. So in nature, biodiversity is something very important. And if we have overgrazing, we will face to loss of biodiversity, which is a very crucial challenge that we need to consider. The next thing is increase of soil erosion. And finally, the last challenge is decreased food sources for livestock. And we need to manage all of this stuff. And the second thing, we want to dive onto climate change, which is a contributing factor, because our scenario suggests that we are facing these two problems, overgrazing and the climate change. Reduced rainfall and drought, increased temperature, and decreased natural regeneration of grasslands are the factors or the problems that we're going to have in terms of climate change. So this was just an introduction to our topic. We have a couple of methodologies as livestock officers in Badakhshan. The first methodology that we have is rating grassland management plans. We need to have this. The first is determining the grazing capacity of each area. We are supposed to determine the grazing capacity of all the areas that we are the livestock officers there in Badakhshan specifically. And the second thing is implementing rotational grazing. The next thing is protecting sensitive grassland areas. And finally, we need to use from the platform of adaptafghanistan.com, which we have learned about it through this seminar, which was so effective for having specific case studies using from the platform of Adapt Afghanistan helps the most. The second methodology that we have as livestock officers is working with the community and herders, because the community in Badakhshan and the herders are the people who do the day-to-day work in Badakhshan, and we need to work with them. The first thing is we will organize training workshops. It will benefit them a lot. Secondly, using local knowledge and experiences will be super effective. The third thing that we need to consider is supporting herders by providing alternative animal feed. The next thing is sharing resources. Resources like Adapt Afghanistan can be super helpful. The platform adaptafghanistan.com, that can build awareness to the communities and herders who live in Badakhshan. And the third methodology that we have is using technology and resources. In terms of resources, again, it's really important to focus on the platform of Adapt Afghanistan. Just I want to come back to this slide. The photo which you see here have been generated by the platform of Adapt Afghanistan. using the indicators and the specific areas that we have inside the platform. So that's why I'm finding out that using from the platform of Adapt Afghanistan is super helpful in case studies and understanding about different scenarios which will happen in an area. So specifically, we have focused on Badakhshan because we are the livestock officers of Badakhshan, of course. So in terms of the third scenario, the third methodology, which is using technology and resources, accessing to data from Adapt Afghanistan will be super helpful. I mean, the most important platform that we are focusing here is Adapt Afghanistan because we find it super helpful. Inside Adapt Afghanistan platform, you can find maps and satellite imagery showing the grassland health. You will be able to find reports and research on the impact of overgrazing in Afghanistan, and you will be able to find case studies of successful grassland management projects in similar regions like Badakhshan or other areas that are in Afghanistan. Besides the methodology, we have a couple of things that we have found through the teamwork we have had through the last week. The results and finding, the first finding we have had was the current state of grassland in Badakhshan, which is a little bit concerning because the first thing is grassland degradation. We're facing to the degradation of grasslands in Badakhshan. Approximately 55% of grasslands in regions similar to Badakhshan, not only Badakhshan, but similar to Badakhshan and all over the country, have experienced degradation between the years of 2000 up to 2019, and soil erosion and desertification or other factors, overgrazing and deforestation have led to increased soil erosion and desertification in Afghanistan, including Badakhshan. This is the most important problem or challenge that we are facing. And the second finding we had was the impacts of overgrazing on grassland. Here we have a graph on biodiversity loss, which is really an important and crucial matter because one of the impacts of overgrazing on grassland is the biodiversity loss. When we lost different kinds of animals and we face to biodiversity loss, it's really, really challenging for other creatures who live in a specific area. Overgrazing contributes to biodiversity loss and affecting the variety of plant species in grassland, which is really important. And the second thing is the livelihoods. Land degradation has adversely affected food security and livelihoods in Badakhshan, which is really crucial. And the third finding, which we have had, was the correlation between overgrazing and climate change. Climate change really affects. Climate change has led to increased temperature and reduced rainfall, exacerbating grassland degradation in Afghanistan, like you see in the picture. And the next thing is grasslands regeneration, which climate change impacts combined with organizing hinder the natural regeneration of grasslands. These were three findings that our team could find. And finally, we're going to have the recommendations for effective impacts. So if we were the livestock officers in Badakhshan, we would do these things to solve this problem and solve the challenges that we have in this scenario. The first thing that me and my team will do if we were the livestock officers, it looks like we are the livestock officers. The scenario says this.
You're responsible for that.
Yeah, we are responsible for that. So what are we going to do as... Yes, our team is going to solve this problem. Be sure about this. So the first thing that we are going to do is the improved grazing management strategy. It's really crucial, and our team found it really important. Rotational grazing, implementing the controlled grazing schedule to allow grassland to regenerate, because regeneration of grasslands is really crucial, and the research section of our team could find this. Also, carrying capacity limits. Limit the number of livestock based on the sustainable capacity of the grasslands which exist on our area, and also community grazing committees. We will establish local committees to oversee grazing activities and enforce regulations, because without regulations, of course, it's impossible to control this stuff. The second thing that we are going to do as livestock officers in Badakhshan is the climate adaptation measures. So grassland restoration projects can be super effective on this case, introducing the native drought-resistant plant species to the degraded areas. The next thing is water resource management, because managing the water resources in Badakhshan can help a lot in this scenario. We will build rainwater harvesting systems to reduce water scarcity for livestock and grasslands. This can be super effective. And also we will have climate monitoring. We will use satellite and local data to grassland health and adjust policies accordingly. And again, the platform of Adapt Afghanistan can be super helpful here. And the third thing that we livestock officers in Badakhshan will do is awareness and capacity building, because the local communities there, unfortunately in Afghanistan, specifically in Badakhshan, the community who exists in Badakhshan, the farmers, they're not educated. That's a very big challenge. And they are not aware of what they're doing and the effects of their actions to the nature. That's why I and my team, we think that if we have awareness and capacity building, that's going to be super helpful. We will have farmer education. We will provide training programs for herders on sustainable grazing and livestock management. We will have alternative livelihoods, like promoting diversification into other income generating activities such as poultry farming or handicrafts. And also, we should focus on the government policies, because the policies of the government are really important as well. So we will advocate for stronger policies and incentives to reduce overgrazing and support sustainable practices. This can be super effective. And so these were the things that we're going to do as livestock officers in Badakhshan. So that's the whole scenario and what we have provided. And I want to have special thanks to the members of our team because of their support through providing this seminar and searching on different areas. So I just want to name them if I have time. Mr. Ahmadi is the head of our team. He has worked through the whole week to communicate with the rest of the team, and all we have here today that we have presented, it's all because of him. So I'm the presenter and provided the slides, nothing more than that, so don't expect anything else. Mr. Shaigan has worked on the map specifically from Adapt Afghanistan. We're really thankful of his efforts. Mr. Jafari was in charge of finding photos that you could see inside the slide that was provided by Mr. Jafari. Mr. Rajavi and Mr. Musafir, they were in charge of research. Some data we have provided here, it's all because of their research, and we are so thankful of them. And our content writer was Mr. Sadat, and our data analyst was Mr. Hosseini. He really helped us in the process. And finally, I think Mr. Dr. Bakri is not here, but he helped us a lot in terms of communications. So what we have provided today here was 1 week of effort and collaboration across our team, and I'm really thankful of all of them. So thank you so much for paying attention to the seminar we had, and I hope it was helpful. And if I was a livestock officer and I had this team, we will definitely solve this problem in Badakhshan. Thank you so much.